Speaker today, Kelsey with LifeLog. Phil? Phil.
There he is.
Kelsey, everyone, our presenter.
Okay.
Have a mic on.
I have it on?
Yes.
I didn't realize the whole time I've had a hot mic. I hope I haven't said anything that's inappropriate.
It's okay. It wouldn't be anything worse than Banks and I do. You're good.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks, everybody. My name is Phil. You know, I've been traveling around to every 1 million cups in Central Florida. And I got to tell you, there's some nice venues, but you guys have the blue ribbon. You take the prize. This is great. You don't know how good you have it. This absolutely takes the prize. So, my name is Phil, and my company is called, whoops, what are we doing here? Oh, here we go. Okay, so my company is called SmartCities LLC, a technology company. It was just admitted to the Sinfluence organization, which is very encouraging. And we produce, my background is real estate investing for about 40 years, local government. I do work for the Orange County Comptroller. And because of health challenges I've had, like a lot of us have had, I've become very interested in preventive type medicine, preventive type measures to ward off a lot of the problems that we have. So my intention is to create, or my company is to continue to develop a company that produces apps that utilizes artificial intelligence and the blockchain. And so today I'm presenting my, Today I'm presenting my MVP, which I call LifeLog. And this is a journaling app. I market it as a health-related app, but it's not limited to that. But basically, you speak into the app throughout the day your activities, such as what you ate, what medications you took, what exercises you did. And the app will summarize that and assign a category and then save that to your device. So a category might be diet, exercise, but it might even be taxes. Anything that you think is worth journaling into the app, it saves it for you. And the purpose of that is so that subsequently you can ask AI a question now with a lot more context. So, for instance, for me, I might be interested in knowing how I can improve my cholesterol scores. So now I can ship that off to AI and ask the question with 6 months of diet and exercise history, so it gives me a more meaningful conversation to have with AI. I get this every time. I'm not going to belabor it. Am I off? Glenn, am I off? Everybody hear me? I feel like I'm at Woodstock. Can you hear me? I think I'm off, Glenn. Okay. So, at any rate, this is my tech stack. I won't belabor it too much. I do want to kind of point out that when I originally wrote the app, I had the AI internally inside the app. It became just cost prohibitive. So what this is doing is it's actually shipping off just the text related to your question. So if you ask a question, the app will determine what categories are relevant to that question, or you can edit that, and it'll ship off just the data related to that question to your favorite AI app, whatever it is, Grok or ChatGPT or whatever you're using. And that's what I'm doing. So where I'm at with the company right now, I'm in the middle of a study to see a market interest study. And the purpose is to get some actionable early on metrics on is there a demand for this type of app? So in my life, I've built a lot of projects. And it's that old thing with Kevin Costner that you build it and they will come and for me, it just didn't pan out that way. So this time, I'm trying to get some really early feedback, which I'm doing. Unfortunately, Google and iPhone will not let you just put out anything. They want you to test it and get something out there, but that's what I'm in the middle of. So my MVP, I've scaled down to I've taken all the cloud access off and the data is just saved locally. And I've removed all the onboarding. There's no sign on it. Basically made it plug and play. I want to remove all the barriers to entry. And then I've divided my campaign up into 2 cohorts. The first one that I'm in right now, I call the Android cohort. Next month, I'll do the iPhone or the Apple cohort. And I have a very inexpensive budget. So it's amazing how many impressions you can purchase for just $5 a day, although the ads I'm buying are overseas, but it's accomplishing my goals. So right now, my first objective was to create what's called a smoke test, a 404 test. Again, you really can't so much do that because Apple and Android have very stringent requirements for what you'll put up there, but it's given me some good feedback, and it's asking the question, again, is anybody interested? Will anybody install? So with a large number, I ran this for 2 weeks with a large number of impressions, I was able to get an impressive 20% of the ads that were rendered, people actually clicked on it, the click-through rate, and out of those 5%, which could have been better, but still encouraging, actually went on to install. So in 2 weeks, I was able to receive 2,000 installs, which is on its way to confirming to me that at least there's a demand for this type of app, which we probably already knew that when it comes to AI and healthcare, there probably is a demand, but this test confirmed it for me, or supports it for me. Can everybody hear me back there? So at 1 million cups, the last part we asked for, the Ask Challenge. And I get my quantitative feedback from my ad campaigns, but I'm always looking for qualitative feedback. On the app, do you think it's too complicated? What recommendations do you have? Would you use it? I have, the link is where you can test it on your iPhone or your Android, but it also has a survey attached. And one thing that you may not know is that 1 million cups, likewise, for every presenter that presents, you can go out on the website and answer questions and surveys. And I got to tell you, interesting, I've never received a survey response, not from 1 million cups or on my own. So I'm always soliciting feedback. It's interesting. So that is something that if I'm looking for. Again, qualitative feedback, constructive criticism. So I really appreciate everybody coming out today and listening to my presentation. And that's it, and I look forward to your questions.
Phil, Kelsey, everyone. I think that would do well.
Okay.
Go ahead and just say your name, Phil.
Phil, can everybody hear me?
Good. Yeah, Phil, I'm going to fill out your survey. I'm going to be the first one. So do I get like a survey from Gary Queen?
I feel like yes, I see phones. I feel like he issued us a challenge here.
The first 5 people get a new shirt. Thanks, Vic.
So Phil, what exactly, I'm a 5th grader right now, what exactly is LifeLog? So explain that for a 5th grader.
Well, it's a convenience app. It does the same thing as if you pulled out an Excel spreadsheet and wrote down your daily activities and assigned a category. It's just convenient. So on your watch or your device, you can speak in these activities through the day. It's meant to be convenient for you so that you will do it and that you'll have that data with you at the time you want to ask that question.
Okay, so Phil, how does that enrich my life?
Well, my original motivations to writing it, I suppose, were 2. One, I was very aware that when AI doesn't seem to have the memory. I was using Grok, and I'd have to go back in and reset up, and it took a lot of time. But again, for health purposes, I want to be able to go to, take supplements and vitamins and exercise and do certain things. And I want to be able to go to my doctor and have a meaningful summary of my last 6 months of activity that I can convey to them. So it's things like that I think really improve the use of AI. So it's like a companion app to your favorite AI.
So there are those apps that on your phone you can figure out what your heart rate is, and
Right.
that is kept track of in whatever, some memory.
Right.
How does your app differ from what's out there already?
Well, okay, it's very difficult to guarantee uniqueness in the app world because there are millions. So I won't guarantee you this is unique. I can say that my goal is to have something free or inexpensive, because there's a premium app for people to use, because although I haven't had time to review them all, some of those apps you're referring to, MyFitnessPal, they are kind of expensive, and I want something free for the public to use to help them pursue things like health. So that is maybe one differentiating. Because of my small size, I'm actually able to probably compete with a free app when others have a little more overhead to work with, to meet.
So let me dig into our community a little bit, since we have such a diverse group here. We have healthcare professionals, we have kind of sales agents. The big question I'm seeing here is, what would you use this for, and what would you be expecting to get out of it? He said he gets his qualitative data, he wants qualitative, he gets quantitative. What do you guys, like again, our healthcare professionals, some of even the, where you have community gathering spaces, what do you see using this for personally and in business to help you along? Zane, what's your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess my first question is kind of maybe to the motivation of this. I know you talked about building an MVP, or building something that will come. Whenever you had this initial idea, what's the initial pain point that you really were trying to solve? That when it comes to selling this, I'm trying to figure out, what is your sales pitch? How are you going to, what's your elevator pitch on this? What was that motivation for the pain point? Because right now I'm not really clear on it.
Okay, well the pain point would be two things. The first one I mentioned was that AI, although it's improved, does not store structured data. In fact, if you've been reading the OpenAI, they're actually moving back off that. They don't want to be a repository of your 6 months of data. And you probably don't want that on there. And even so, you don't want the duplicity of having to store that kind of data on multiple AI platforms. You want to have it in control yourself. I mean, it's still out there to some extent, but you really want more control. So that's the first pain point I see. The second is convenient. As I said, you could do the same thing. This is a companion app, and just like a lot of companion apps, you could do the same thing with Microsoft Office. But will you? Probably not. But the convenience of having it on your phone, on your watch, or your phone, I think that maybe people will say, I walked around the block. I took my supplements this morning, and this is what they were.
Okay. A follow-up question on that. So the motivation for the user, obviously there's going to be some people who are maybe more proactive in wanting to journal. Are you going to implement functions that are going to prompt the user to say, hey, maybe set a trigger? If I walk into an area that says like, hey, did you check your blood sugar today? Or hey, what did you have for lunch today? Or things like that. Are you going to be setting any triggers in there? Because I feel like it's a lot to be just constantly adding stuff in randomly.
Oh yeah, well, first off, you're the tech guy, so you of all people know that everything doesn't happen all at once. I wish it would. It's a long process to develop those things. I see this as a very brown paper wrapper at this point in time. Again, I was very much in a rush to get to market, just to get the early metrics, action points, but absolutely, if you look at it, it is devoid of all hooks. It's not contagious. It needs more onboarding. Those are the kind of things that I plan to add over time to encourage engagement, to encourage conversion. But I don't have those yet. So right now, I'd say I'm at the testing point to see, again, is it feasible? Is anybody interested?
Let's go up front here.
Okay, so my question to you is, have you contemplated not reinventing the wheel and partnering with someone like Garmin? My Garmin does all that you're saying. It doesn't journal, but I could make a journal and it's free and it cost me $100.
Good question. Possibly, but again, where I want to go with this is probably not in the direction of Garmin. My ultimate goal is to have more of the MVP I think will stand by itself and be usable. And if you want to use your Garmin, again, there are a lot of choices in the app world. Some you pay for, some you don't. I won't guarantee uniqueness. I'm just competing in a space along with everybody else. But my long-term goal, is anybody familiar with Valuetainment? Valuetainment, nobody?
Yeah.
I knew it. But they have an app called Connect, which I'm interested in. So I would like to have like a model like that where you're able to take your data saved on the cloud and share it via token with an expert, with your PA, or with your doctor, and that a limited time, a specific number of categories. So that's kind of the direction I want to go that wouldn't be Garmin related. But that's way off.
So you're still flexible, you still have room for suggestion for things that you can add in the future. What do you have back here, Aaron?
Great question, thank you very much.
You basically just answered it. I had an idea, do you have an area where you can say, review or everything or add log is user, log an asthmatic attack, and send it to the doctor that you choose?
Well, yeah, I envision that. Again, with the use of JWT tokens, you can very conveniently share any slice and dice your data for a limited amount of time with anybody. So that would be, again, I'd like for everything to happen all at once. It just doesn't happen that way. But that would be very attractive to be able to send those tokens, send that ability to share with any expert. I mean, say you have a person that specializes in the Mediterranean diet in Vietnam, but to be able to share just your diet information with that person and be able to exchange, similar to Connect. But again, we're getting way off the MVP, because for all my efforts, this is as far as I've been able to get to this point. But that is kind of how I envision.
We've got big dreams for you. Thank you, Aaron. Let's go over here to Lenka.
And thank you for the great question. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll go to Lenka, and then we'll come back here to you, and then over here, Lee. Got some over here as well. Lenka?
Good morning. Hi.
Please.
I'm right here. Lenka Brady. I love the innovation of this. I love everything you're doing, and certainly their relationship with AI is very unique. I will have to be honest with you, I'm still confused about your message and how your product would help me. I work with startup businesses. I am a business builder. I do MVPs. I'm all about niching down, right? And I'm missing that connection right there. So I think that if you do have an MVP product, you might not have an MVP audience. And there might not be a way to resonate with the right people, because I am not resonating right now with your product. I do not see how this can help me in what I'm doing. I use AI, I use so many different tools out there, and I look for efficiency. I look for ways to organize myself. And this might be it, but I'm not hearing it yet. The keyword is yet.
Okay.
Right? So this would be possibly my feedback to you, is like really help me understand how this can help me, instead of perhaps assuming or making a guess or guessing that that's something that I need to be organized.
How would anybody here, she's asking, and thank you very much, she's trying to establish in her mind how this would be helpful to her. And so on your daily, going through your day and being able to record your events to subsequently use as AI has been my pitch, how would anybody here use it to kind of answer her question? And just, how would you use it if you had it?
I'd give it as a my chart add-on.
Like a companion?
Yeah, so basically, I have a lot of medical things that I do, and there's my chart for everybody, but they don't link, right? So I would take this data, just like I would take the data like my Connect, but I've got more with AI because it's more adaptive. And I would hand that to all of my important people, my husband, my parents, my doctors, and they would know, well, I had a blood sugar spike, or I had a heart rate increase, and why did that happen?
So what if, to answer her question, what if instead of just a list, what if, we all want to leverage AI, and even professionals that are in the medical industry, they need to leverage it too, or to compete. So what if you could ship that data off into an AI environment, say ChatGPT, and your physician pulled up the same thread on your AI and began to have the conversation. You wouldn't even have to ship the data at that point. You just share your AI thread with that physician. They continue the conversation. But with the leverage of AI, would that not be useful?
I haven't figured out how you're making my life any better.
Your life is...
Not to be mean, but I'm like sitting here trying to understand. It's like, I live my life, I collect my data, I have everything today. Why would I use this at all?
Why would anybody use this app at all?
Storage.
Journalism.
Sure.
Journal.
A journal, okay.
Okay, let's get some more audience feedback from that question. Can you stand up for me?
On my end, I'm curious as to, I know you mentioned that for the MVP, you're storing the data locally.
Correct.
But eventually it will be in the cloud, right? So my thoughts is more along the lines of security and privacy, confidentiality of the data. How do you, well, what are your thoughts on that? And if it's, I assume it's important, how do you plan to
HIPAA?
protect that?
Absolutely. I am not extremely HIPAA trained, other than I'm familiar with it, just like the rest of us. Storing on your own device is limited risk on there. Storing on the cloud will be an area that I'll need advice on to make sure I don't violate any privacy issues. One thing that when you put an app on the Play Store or on the App Store, they question you and they examine your data privacy policies, whether that extend or rise to the level of HIPAA, I don't know, but it is something that the Play Store and the App Store do focus on before they'll let you go into protection of your app. Does that answer your question? But great question, thank you very much.
Ross, Jared?
Good morning, Phil. I'm Jared Taylor. I'm a nonprofit fundraiser. I wanted to share a definition of what I think this is, some concerns that I have, and then a suggestion. So this is surveillance. And if you're familiar with what surveillance is when a subject is being monitored. Surveillance is when the subject does the self-monitoring and overshares. And so I have some concerns because, as they had mentioned, there is protected health information. And I hope you have a really great lawyer, because if someone ever takes some advice and something bad happens to them, they could sue you. Hey, this app told me to eat this. I had a heart attack from high cholesterol. I have concerns about that, as well as people who have addictive personalities. You should implement some guardrails that, just like Netflix, are you still watching? Hey, do we really need to know about this bowel movement? Do we really need to know about all these minutiae things that I get the point of trying to improve, but not everything needs to be categorized, analyzed, and improved upon. And this isn't specific to you, but you asked about surveys, and I think someone said it from before. Always have something, always have a hook. If there's not any sort of special promotion or a Dairy Queen dessert for me, I'm not doing that. So if you have a discount, that's your hook. Thank you.
Great point, thank you very much. Great question. Good comment about the legal stuff. Good advice.
So a lot of people have come around this point. It's difficult to identify who is the persona you're trying to really reach out. You can try to reach out the ones that are trying to be fit versus those who are sick. There's going to be different type of data. So that's something to think about, right? Those who are sick and are worried about the medical records and all that, that has a higher risk, as the previous person said, right? But those who are just trying to be fit and trying to eat healthier, maybe less of a risk. So identifying a persona you're trying to meet will be important. So that's
right.
One thing I like is the easiness, right, that you already start trying to do here, which is just talk and it will record based on what you're saying, right? But the other point is there's so many apps, right? And to her point, she uses Garmin, and I bet many people use Garmin. Maybe think about your app potentially becoming an aggregator. So it connects to other sources of data. By the end of the day, my recommendation is you need to really think about what the users really want. What do they want to use that data for, right? If you're collecting what am I eating, what am I doing, what do they need the data for? So for example, there's a kid, I think he's like 18 years old, he just built an app that you just take a picture of the food you're eating and it will just give you all the calories and everything.
Right.
A lot of people just count calories. I don't. That's too much work for me. But for a lot of the people who really want to count it, he made it easy, right? Just one click, boom, now I know what I'm eating. So he found that the kind of persona he's trying to do. But I imagine grabbing his data, right? Grabbing the data from my Apple Watch, my health data, as far as what I'm working, what the steps I'm doing and so forth, aggregating all that. Now, the last point I have, the output is unclear to me. What am I getting as a person, as a user? What is the output I'm getting? What is the benefit I'm getting out of all of that, right? You're getting all the data. What is it really going to tell me? Oh yeah, Gio, you're doing great. You're marking your steps. Maybe you have some goals. That's the feedback I have.
Well, great point. But what would you, if you wanted to ask AI a question about something you were interested in related to your health or related to any other part of your life, would you prefer to ask that with no AI not having really any information on you or limited, or would you rather have?
You need to provide context.
Context.
I also develop AI apps, so I know about this. It requires the context, right? That the context is super beneficial. The issue I see, generally speaking, is I work also in healthcare. So the issue I see is relying on AI as the source of knowledge for medical information. But relying on the AI for source of knowledge with, I'm going to call general information like the calories and the steps and that sort of thing, will be more beneficial and less risky for you, right? Because otherwise you're going to have to use other LLMs, language models that are very dedicated for healthcare, and that will be a lot more pricey for you.
All right.
So that's my suggestion.
Thank you.
All right,
Good
let's
point.
keep going with feedback. I see more hands. We want to make sure we give. Yep, excellent.
Hey, John. So as we're getting into the world of things getting easier with AI, I think some of the things that I'm learning as I'm releasing my own app is deviate from the word from AI, maybe get something a little bit more powerful, such as recommendations or strategic thoughts versus AI. I think people are a little bit more still not comfortable with what AI can do. So maybe add that, flex that into your marketing somehow, so it's easy to understand. Also from an MVP perspective, I think while it's a little valuable product, is the turn and the technique. I think presentation is going to be very important, so I would really level up on your presentation, doing a demo, you'll find a demo of what your product does. Maybe hit on maybe one or two outcomes that people can really relate to, maybe differentiate yourself from the market of other apps that are out there. For example, the first thing I was thinking about is I would love for this to tell me like every successful person, you learn about skills on a journal, right? I just forget quite so many of the time. Okay? Maybe there's an opportunity for you to just make yourself different in a way that reminds people to the journal.
Right.
The last thing I would say is, are you in any of the online communities that are relevant to journaling?
No.
So maybe go in there and participate a little, then introduce yourself to the moderator and say, hey, can I present my MVP? Because then you have an audience there that are relevant to journaling, et cetera, you'll get a lot of good feedback. And there's probably one to maybe a dozen communities out there who can do that.
Okay. Good advice. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's keep it concise.
Couple more.
Like 3 more questions, and we're there.
Hi, Brian Zola. I'm a medical practitioner, so this kind of speaks to me as you first laid this out. Kind of had a hard time understanding what you're going after. First, the journaling thing, the mindset stuff, which is good, and I've got into the healthcare, which, for me, I'm actually looking for something that's like this. So I think to fix some of this stuff, what you have to do is go through a medical practitioner to actually have the accountability factor and the translation factor to be able to have, you know, a credible source and sort out all the extra stuff. Because obviously it's AI, so it makes mistakes. But if a person can be that patient, and I'm talking about what did you do over the last month, rather than, well, I kind of worked out 3 to 5 days a week and I walked or whatever, and I can have a more succinct thing. And then for her credit too, talking about the Garmin app, to integrate that data, which is something that I'm currently doing for my clients right now, is using the Garmin Coach app so I can see their HRV, their sleep data, and everything else. If I integrate that with the actual subjective portion and objective portion, so I can see what they're doing and what they're said they're doing versus what they actually say during the appointment, and that would be a little bit more relevant for me as a clinician.
But could AI put, if a patient came to you, and that was one thing I've heard medical people say, that, hey, what are you eating? Well, I ate this and that, you know, supplements. But if they came with a more summarized way of presenting to you what they've done the last 6 months in those areas, or if you could even just share the AI thread, would that be more beneficial to you?
I wouldn't really want to go through the entire AI thread and try and sort that out. If it was like a monthly summary of these are the things, and maybe something different that happened, like they went out to a concert or something, I don't know. But I wouldn't want to sort through like 10 pages.
No, but not sorting, but you don't sort anything. You just type in your own question into the thread. What has my patient been eating and exercising and taking supplements, both quantity and milligram, you know, for the last 6 months? And in some way for that to better get to you, would that not be beneficial?
Only if it was like a summary statement that are pre-canned, like is the compliance on this supplement regular, or did they stick to the diet, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Generalized questions that are, you know, succinct to whatever it is.
Well, you make the question yourself. So could you not ask a question with that data of your patients to be valuable to you?
Yeah, I think if you remark this to medical personnel in general, you would just come to the person and say, what are the things that you want to know about these people every single month? And then it just spits out that. Because I don't want to spend, you know, just talking with ChatGPT the whole time and trying to figure out all this stuff.
So more structured and summarized for you. Something like
So we're going to come back here. So that's a good perspective, though. It's a different audience to the point about leveling up your presentation. It's a different audience. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got probably 2 more. Let's go. These are our last 2.
I think my question actually follows up on what he's talking about. It's about the summary, basically. What does this summarize? If I am a patient, if I'm any person who likes to give a lot of information into the AI, is it going to be missing anything that I'm giving it? Say I tell it, I ate this and this happened. I ate this and this happened. I took this medicine and this happened. I'm actually creating basically a summary myself, but if I give it too much information, is it going to neglect to tell my doctor? Is it going to omit certain things from that summary that my doctor is not ever going to see? What this problem, what a food is causing, what a medicine is causing in my life.
Right.
That's where my concern would be with something like that. But I also don't think that the HIPAA covers anything what you're talking about. I don't think it covers healthcare, health insurance companies. So it's not a patient thing; it's a health insurance thing.
Right, and that's a great point. I'm finishing off the South Beach Heart Plan book right now. I've been kind of impressed how certain supplements and medications actually don't work good together, maybe individually. But so I'm kind of using the app to ask that question: do these go together? But those are all good points, but I think in any way that you communicate information to your PA or your doctor, would you ever leave things out?
Usually, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I know, would you ever leave things out, though?
I'm worried about the summary of what, if you have given the AI information, if you have given the AI information 3 weeks ago, a patient is not going to remember what it gave AI 3 weeks ago.
But AI will remember. So.
Not necessarily.
Well, but your structured data.
It's not
necessarily. No, your 6 months of structured data on your device has it, and your AI will read.
All right, we're going to keep moving forward. We're getting into realms of technical things that are over our heads. So keep going here.
Phil, thank you for presenting holistic natural health
Okay.
and nutrition. But more importantly, I'm an entrepreneur and a Web3 ambassador. I want to thank you for this. I think Zane nailed it in the very beginning. What's the pain point? So I think we refine that. We have to talk offline beyond this crowd here. But I think a lot of what you're doing is very relevant, but we have to fine tune it. The pain point I'm identifying that is really relevant is the storage and the privacy. Those threaded throughout all these conversations of privacy, utility, and compliance with different things. I think the short answer is if you took what you're doing, it's not really good on the Web 2 space. In the Web 2 using Google Cloud and all these things, it doesn't really work in Web 2. Moving over to Web 3, it makes a lot of sense. Decentralizing, not complying with Google, not complying with Android, not complying with iPhone, but going off grid and using Web 3 tech, I think that's going to solve a lot of your problems. Distributing it down to a local, like putting it inside of a firewall, sidesteps all the HIPAA stuff, putting it onto a local server, using AI of choice instead of a large language model, maybe training it on a small language model is going to sidestep a lot of these ambiguities and the hallucinations that you otherwise experience.
Right, good advice. Realize though, I don't have a model. I don't have a language model.
But I coach you through that.
Yeah, and I too am a Web3 blockchain enthusiast. But I do try to envision how, maybe you can talk to me afterwards. I've always thought that the blockchain was frankly a very expensive, clunky, slow database.
So we've got a connection for after. We're going to wrap up and then, okay.
So I just want to address what the gentleman is like said in terms of oversharing. How do you prevent oversharing? You put categories to whatever you're sharing to your doctor. This, and this. Then you have a little text field that's limited, 140 characters, make it a tweet. And then you have an option at the end, contact me. Do I want my doctor to tell me about this, yes or no? All right, Aaron, we're going to finish with you. Yeah. You got
Is that
20
it?
seconds.
All right, I think that there's different ways that you might want to try and do this entirely. I think we've gone way down the rabbit hole with a lot of healthcare focus, but I think you need to think outside of the box and find other pain points that aren't even related to healthcare. That'd be my thoughts on this. Find something very specific that you can model this thing around. Basically, what you're trying to sell this says, hey, this is your personal model of X, right? So find what X is to sell it that way. Also look at like your white labeling, something like that. See how you can use this as a tool to sell in different ways, because I think that you're running into a lot of, you're too broad in what you're trying to sell right now. We don't even know what you're selling. So I think you need to really refine down what it is that this is going to do. Yes, it is a personal model, but try to find ways that you could also use this a little different ways. You might be able to get somebody to license software from you. Think outside the box in terms of what you're trying to do.
Good advice.
So,
And we end with Zane. All right.
yes. So we have had a lot of feedback and a lot of those birds flying around the heads again. I am one of those people. Most of this was over my head, but there was some very valuable feedback for him, and I think some connections brewing for afterward that I hope will continue to get you your answers and the data that you need. I do want to ask you, we have one last question. I don't know if they do this everywhere, but for your final question for 1 Million Cups, one action item, what can we, as the Clermont 1 Million Cups community, do to help you going forward?
Well, I wanted to say though, this is my 6th presentation, and you guys take the prize. You've given me more valuable feedback. I really super appreciate the constructive criticism because it's very useful. And I just want to let you guys know that. Your engagement is very, very impressive. The one thing that every presenter wants, again, because I can get the quantitative measures from my marketing campaign, is I want qualitative feedback. So if you would please fill out the survey, either that's the 1 Million Cups survey or my survey, and sock it to me. I realize, yeah, I need to lose a few pounds, maybe not those kind of things. And if my wife were here, she'd add a few more things. But constructive type comments, I really appreciate.
Well, thank you, Phil, for coming here. And